try not to put anything out as much as we can to illuminate anything around it. So it doesn't give much of a light footprint outside the boundary.
See, that lens is just terrible.
We'll be in here with you. Okay, so this is the doghouse. This is very different than what you would have seen on a
Quieter than I would have thought.
Everything's controlled from in here.
Do you guys mind if you're on camera?
No.
Is that all right? Okay.
How you doing? AJ. Yeah, Chris. How you doing? Brett. Good to see you guys.
I'm Steve.
Brett. Rick Bud.
AJ.
AJ. So come over here so you can see everything.
This is
All right.
the control.
This is the control module. So
Wow.
it's not a video
Like
game.
a
It
cockpit.
actually is a control. So everything in the rig is controlled from here. Where normally it would take 4 or 5 people to do this, this guy can do everything from here. It's got a joystick, just like a video game would, that controls the top drive and everything moving up and down, so you can control everything from here. Conventionally, the weight monitor here, so you can see your weight and everything. But everything in here is effectively controlled by him. And as you would normally see on a brake handle when they're drilling and they slack off and release weight to drill, here it's controlled by a computer. So we can put in multiple parameters. We can put in how fast we want it to drill, what weight we want to keep on bit, and the computer itself regulates how much weight's put on the bit and everything. So actually in here, these guys can program into this all the different things they want to see to drill faster, slower, all those kind of things. So they can everything in here is effectively controlled by a computer and these guys. So they've got different cameras now instead of people. They've got cameras to see the different apparatus, the different pieces of equipment. Again, here you've got all these series or touchscreen screens where they can, instead of kicking a pump out, kicking a thing in, it's all a touchscreen panel that they can control from here. If you were on an offshore drilling rig, this is what you would see. You'd see a control module like this with one person doing what normally 4 or 5 people do out there by mechanical means. So it's effectively, the crews are still here, but again, when they go to make connections or anything, you're not going to see a bunch of people run out there and go throw chains or do anything like that. The rig will do it itself. So and he controls all of that right here. So.
Safety by design.
That's right. And that's true. That's the good point. I mean, not only is it efficient and fast, it's that when you take the human factor out of people moving equipment around with, obviously these things are very heavy and things can happen, it's very safe. Because now all of a sudden you've taken the human element out. So there's nobody out there to get hit. There's nobody out there to get their fingers caught. There's nobody out there to do it. It's all being run by a machine now from inside of here. Being controlled from here. So I'm 31 now. So we've drilled the 8765. The bit's at 55, 31. Your mud, the hook load. So he's got he's holding 129,000 pounds right now on it. Pump pressures are 1,300 pounds. So the same diagram you saw inside the counting bench spreader. So that Pason system that we saw down at the mud system too, all of it's connected, so everybody that's kind of in a pivotal place can see this.
Get a shot of the.
Yeah,
That's the
weight indicator
That's
right
the
there.
weight.
So that should be pretty close to that. So it says hook load's 129,000 pounds. That should be about what that thing shows. But his draw works, instead of like what you've seen a brake where they're going up and down with their draw works, that's all controlled with this joystick here. So he controls the up and down of that draw works with that joystick. That moves the draw works up and down.
Let's see if I can get a shot of that.
The brakes are quiet. Right.
So tight in here, it's hard to
It is.
put the wide angle on. And this is going to be hell to edit.
You going in, doing in and out.
Where's the cup holder?
You don't get one of those.
Yeah. Very cool.
These are tank volumes, pump things up here. But again, the things to control all the apparatus, the equipment out there is all at his fingertips now. There's not somebody out there mechanically doing it. He can control everything from here. And he's quiet. He can see up to the top if he wants to look at it. It's all effectively run by one man and computers now. So much different than what we're used to. Again, if you went on a mechanical rig or even an electric rig somewhere else, it still wouldn't look like this. Even some electric rigs would have, somebody would be out there doing something. It'd be, it wouldn't be a controlled module like this. This is very different. There's not a lot of rigs like this. The FlexRig and the H&P series are all built like this, but it's pretty unique.
I've worked mechanicals, and this is all right.
Right. Much different. It's funny too when you talk about the, some of the older guys that have been around in the drilling business for a long time. They have a very difficult time moving to this because it's computer controlled now. They're used to working on a brake handle and working valves and things. This is much different. And I think a lot of times you'll see that some of the younger guys that have come up through the ranks do a little better. It's technology. This is a little higher much higher technology than what we're used to doing. So you need to be able to work with your hands and work with touching screens and being able to watch these things. It's a much different setup. You wouldn't be able to easily transpose from one rig to the other. They're very different.
So what are you guys doing now? Are you trying to bring it down? Or
We're circulating right now. We're just cleaning it.
You just stay at a certain level until it gets as clean as you need it to be? Or?
Yeah. We're just trying to work back the bottom right now. Going slow about it. The hole's giving us a little bit of fall in on us. So
You want to make sure that before we run logs that the hole's in really good condition, because unlike having pipe where we can get really rough with it, if the hole started to fall in a little bit or there was a little bit of drag, and obviously if you've got pipe in there in this derrick, we can pick up and pull a lot of weight. With the wire line, you're on the end of a wire.
Oh, right.
And so if it were to get stuck or get caught up, you can leave something in the hole, then we have to go in and get it. So you can't get near as rough with it. So you want to make sure the hole's in almost perfect condition where you can go in and out with no problems with the drill pipe, and then we'll go ahead and run our logs to bottom.
But even the wire line doesn't have a problem getting down through that mud and everything and get down.
Now, the tool string's normally about 60 or 70 feet long. They've got weight bars on it to where it's got enough weight to fall down through. It's a pretty heavy tool. I mean, the wire too is probably half an inch, 3/4 inch diameter. It's a pretty big wire that controls it. So there you go. He's picking the. Normally he'd be on the brake handle, but he's on joystick. And he's watching his weight. You can see his weight's coming up as he's picking the pipe up. And see, normally on a rig, he's engaging. He's picking up weight, so you hear the engines kicking in.
Yeah, you don't hear anything here.
Because it's a constant electric, and the generators, you don't hear any different. And see here, if they were on the pipe with a conventional rig trying to pick that rig up, they wouldn't be able to rotate it because they can't rotate and pull at the same time because it would be rotating at the bottom of the table. So he's still rotating the pipe as he's pulling up.
How is the pipe staying so clean? Is it?
there's actually a piece of rubber.
Yeah, it kind of wipes it. That keeps everything down in
I
there.
get it.
Yeah. If you had some stuff that was happened to be falling in on you or something, and you were trying to pick up pipe, and you weren't rotating it, you can kind of, if you can imagine, that stuff kind of packs off around the drill pipe. You're kind of pulling into it, kind of like pulling into a Chinese finger trap.
Yeah.
If you can keep the pipe rotating all the time and keep that stuff moving, you don't nearly get stuck as much. So it gives you all. It really is a big. There's a lot of top drives out there, and a lot of rigs do have top drives. It's not just the Flex series. Top drives have been around for a long time, but these are built as integral parts of the drilling rig. It's not an add-on. A lot of times you can take a rig and add a top drive on it, and then if you want to drill another well without it, you can take it off. These are integral parts. You don't take the top drive off these rigs. It's part of the drilling rig.
So are you watching something on a screen somewhere that's telling you what the mud is like coming out, or how clean it is, or?
That I get that I can get a flow, and I can get whether or not my hole's taking any mud or giving me back any mud. But as far as my properties, my derrick can't keep tabs
Oh, I
on
see.
all
He's
that.
checking that all the time. That's something that when he goes down there and checks all that stuff, he's checking the mud and cutting everything. That's what. So that in that case, it's similar. The derrick man goes and checks the mud properties and does things like that, reports back what it looks like. He can check levels here, so he knows how much is in his tanks, how many barrels did he pump in, how many barrels did he pump out, which means is the hole taking any fluid, is it giving up any fluid? He can monitor all those type things from here, flow rates. He knows he's pumping into a certain point. He knows he's coming out.